Has he stormed off?
64846.
64846. Are you the owner of that inflatable penis? We were talking before the news, and I'm worried that this is going to sort of lapse into local radio territory, but it's a question that's genuinely perplexed me, and I couldn't find an answer today. As to the use of chopsticks, as I say, am a master of the chopstick, and I'd like to know, if I were a guitar aficionado, for instance, I'd like to know about the origin of the guitar. Likewise, with a chopstick. I'm good at it, I don't understand its history, its heritage, why, go with the chopstick, which is quite a tricky manoeuvre, and so I threw that question out there earlier, why the chopstick? And we've had a couple of responses, Harry, am I right in saying?
Yeah, Laurie in Canada. Yeah, you heard Canada. He says that back in the days when murderers, ninjas and death squads were prevalent, knives and other metal-eating implements were banished from the table as a way of proving you meant no harm to your guests. Wooden chopsticks were introduced, and I guess they kind of caught on.
I'm not convinced by that. Sounds very unlikely. That's sort of that's the history as told in perhaps a kung fu film. I don't really believe that. You've got some, Ruth?
Tom in London says, because a wooden chopstick is quicker, easier and cheaper to make than a metal or wooden spoon or fork. And by the way, I'm the chopstick master, and I'll have you on a chopstick off any day of the week and twice on Sunday.
I'm more than happy to take him on, I wonder if this is speculation as opposed to cold hard facts. It worries me that's speculation, Sammy.
Mine's very speculative. Stanley, nowhere. Chopsticks are better because it's not nice to always put metal cutlery in your mouth, which alters the taste of food. It's the best I can do. Also, it's possible to shovel rice with chopsticks. You just need some talent. I love my life. Stanley.
Oh,
is that not the best sign-off ever?
Is it ironic, though? Is it kind of, I've got time to write about chopsticks, I love my life.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's difficult. Thanks, Dan.
Literally, news just in. Mike on the email. With chopsticks, eating slowly, little and often, aids digestion, being in line with Eastern philosophy.
Okay, this is more interesting. This is more like it. I still feel there's some speculation there, but I'd like a proper Chinaman. Perhaps a wise Chinaman, like an 80-year-old with a long droopy moustache, the sort of Chinaman that would sell you a gremlin or something, in a little back street. I want him to get on the line, I don't want to do the impression. I was always going to do an impression.
Please don't.
It's too offensive. Talking of impressions, it was a rather bold claim from newly engaged Rufus earlier. This is outrageous. We were doing our impressions of Bob Dylan. Hey, how's it going? I remember when I was talking to a Chinaman about etc. And you just threw into the mix that you can do a barnstorming Nelson Mandela.
Well, I did, yeah, and I don't know if I've got the guts to do it now, but
you must.
There's a statue in the opposite of the Houses of Parliament is very much a symbol of the war against oppression that has been fought in my country and elsewhere.
I don't know whether is that good or not. I can't tell.
It's either Yoda or Nelson Mandela. It's one of them.
I'll tell you this though, you've got to do your vows like that.
That would
It's what he would want. Yeah. Do you remember when they did when Nelson Mandela's garden was made over by the ground force team?
Yes, Titchmarsh and that way.
And clearly Titchmarsh had been told to wrap up at the end of the... Although it was a live broadcast, nevertheless they were taping it, and obviously someone told him to wrap up. So at the end, it's sort of Mandela's making a speech about it is wonderful to show that in a time we're integration of this and da-da-da, and he's making this noble speech, and Titchmarsh just raises a glass and goes, "Cheers to that, everyone! See ya!" It's one of the great reducing of a great man's final payoff to some sort of light BBC One entertainment. It's fantastic. Well, let's hope. Hopefully, we've caused massive offence with that.
Yeah.
Thanks very much indeed.
I wish I'd had a text, prepared.
Yeah.
And I was going to wing it a bit, but, and I also stepped back from the mic in nervousness. But it's something to work on.
It's good to know that when the show's flagging, we can always pull that out of the drawer.
Yeah, it's always there for you.
All right, so we are delving into songs from the jukebox. No, songs from the post box Pigeonhole. Yes, I get sent hordes of music. Much of it is great, a lot of it is tat. I've dug out a couple of tunes which may be of interest to you, the listener, and also us here in the studio. First up, it's released on the 15th of October. It's from his current album, and it's Richard Hawley with Serious. From his current album, Ladies Bridge, that's Richard Hawley, and forthcoming single, Serious, which is out on the 15th of October. I think it's nice that in this kind of klaxons-filled pop world, there's still a place for people like Richard Hawley. Sammy, you are one of the youth of today. Is it something that charms you?
It was a bit like a musical cardigan. It was comfortable. You wouldn't go out the house in it. I wouldn't admit to liking that song, but maybe over time I might. I don't know, it was just, like a nice old smelly cardigan with holes in.
But isn't that what it's trying to do? It's trying to ape that sort of classic kind of 50s rockabilly sound?
Well, maybe it is, but then just listen to some 50s rockabilly.
Ooh.
I don't know, it didn't really do anything for me at all. Other than I really want my card in now.
I imagine when you are dancing around your stately mansion, Rufus, with your bride-to-be, it's late in the evening, you're both wearing, she's wearing a ball gown, you're wearing a tuxedo, I imagine that comes on, I could just imagine you gently dancing around the empty ballroom.
Well, since Friday night, I've thought of weddings quite a lot, actually, and mainly when I was listening to that, I was thinking about my dad being able to dance to it with my mum.
Yes, perfect.
They would be able to dance. They're quite absolutely Jews doing the dance now. The overbite would kind of that would happen. And there was a nice kind of fairground attraction. You feel it felt like someone might have busked that tune, but I'm slightly with Sammy really. I'm not so much on the retro music.
You've seen Hawley live. I think I was there with you, Hare, and after about an hour or so, there is a sort of the songs tend to blur into one. Is that fair?
They do, yeah. I mean, I quite enjoyed that track, but I've got no reason to own it. I don't know why you'd need to own more than one Richard Hawley album. I thought he was really pleasant, and I like him. I think he's a genuinely sort of interesting, funny guy. But yeah, when you see him live, it grates after a while. The way he tells you that, on the inner sleeve, there's a picture of the chip shop that him and his mum used to go to every Friday, and every link was like that. I thought it was very pleasant, but I've no need to seek it out.
Well, talking of you're already complaining there about it having a sort of retro feel. Well, right bang up to the minute, you couldn't be more relevant and contemporary than Pete Doherty. And here's the new single from Baby Shambles. It's called Delivery. Released tomorrow, that's the brand new single from Baby Shambles. It's called Delivery. It's a Steve Show, BBC Six Music, and we're investigating songs which have landed in the pigeonhole, new releases. And we were talking last week, of course, about Amy Winehouse, and obviously Doherty gets much press coverage for the same sort of reasons as Winehouse. We all know what they are, but I'm always intrigued because it seems like his celebrity tabloid fame perhaps slightly outweighs his actual contribution to the world of music. And there's been sort of mixed reports on the new album. Some people are raving about it, others not so interested. I've never quite taken to Doherty's music. Somehow I love the Libertines. Somehow his personal solo stuff doesn't quite ring with me. Rufus, I can't imagine it ticks your boxes.
It doesn't really, Steve. No. I like the kind of Stranglers-ish edge to that, which I haven't heard on other Baby Shambles stuff. But him and Winehouse particularly are in this thing where their music is you can't listen to it without knowing about all their other stuff. But it's frustrating. But no, not so big for me.
Without wishing to make judgments of him through what you see in the tabloids, you can't help but feel that his reputation as this kind of tortured artist is not quite fulfilled by the music. If only the music were just that little bit more exciting and striking and poetic and heartfelt, then somehow it would all seem like it was. But somehow, I don't know, it doesn't all work for me. Sammy, again, you're the youth, speak for them.
He looks like someone's given the moon a surprise. I've always thought when you look at them, it's like, oh goodness. Anyway.
The moon's wearing a pork pie hat. And
I really have never got Baby Shambles at all. Love the Libertines, but I just don't get it. It's much of a nothing. It's like a big bowl of soup.
Sure. I'm always intrigued as well, if you spend that much time on the horse, how do you actually get anything done? Harry, I don't know if you've had any experience, but how do you get stuff done? How do you even get into a recording studio? I notice this is produced by Stephen Stewart. I'm wondering if he's had a lot to do with it.
Well, that basically sums up exactly what I was going to say. I thought it benefited from the production, which I thought was a lot better than previous Baby Shambles stuff. But I think with Doherty's stuff and other sort of tortured artists, like on the food now, you've got they've got that traffic light system, so it's like salt, fat, sugars on the front. If on Tortured Artists records, you could see what they were on when they made it. So like horse, speed, glue, and it would tick boxes. Then you'd have an insight into the workings of their mind.
Maybe it's something for A&R men all over the country to get together. Perhaps it's some kind of round table.
I'll write a few letters.
Please do. I imagine there'll be a little needle, a little aerosol can, and the like on the records. I can see that working. We have a tune here which I have to say I'm not familiar with. This has been suggested to us from Jude, the producer. Often her musical tastes in the past have proven to be delicious. Let's hope that this is also delicious. Or is that right? Yes. It's called Sia. How do you pronounce it? Sia. The track is called Buttons. Let's listen. Our producer Jude has recommended this to us. Sia and Buttons. It's a track from her forthcoming album, Some People Have Real Problems. And from what I can glean from Jude, Sia was the vocalist on some of the 07 tracks, and she's had odds and ends out before, and she's maybe not signed, and this is maybe being self-released, and there's been a video online that was posted by blogger Perez Hilton that became the #1 most linked music video and #2 most viewed music video on YouTube. I don't know what was #1, someone falling down a hole, almost certainly. And anyway, so there will be an official single called Day Too Soon out in November. Harry, I don't imagine you like that at all.
Buttons, zip it. That's what I'm saying, Steve. Oh God, that was endlessly
brilliant.
dull. That was terrible. That could have been the new Imbruglia single, as far as I'm concerned.
Careful, Judy's mentally unstable. Be
didn't
careful,
like
you'll
it.
tip her over the edge.
No, not for me, I'm afraid.
She's gonna throw something at me. You see, that's exactly what those people do. So Rufus, yeah, I imagine it's got an upbeat sound that you may have responded to.
You're so good at keeping him cool in these situations, Steve. Yeah, I thought it was nice that the blink, blink, blink sound of it reminded me slightly of a Japanese animation that started to get on my nerves very slightly, and my teeth started to hurt a little bit towards the end. But I like the feel of it. It was a nice song.
Is it music for ladies, Sammy?
Oh, you're right, it is. I want the whole album. Well, not there is one, but I want to put it on and put high heels on in front of the mirror and put loads of red lipstick on and feel cool about myself.
Hey,
that was a really good.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's often the way to spend a Wednesday.
I think pink dew would suit you.
Pink dew?
Yes, it would suit your colouring.
Thank you very much indeed. That's worth knowing. That's a whole new strand. We've already had the financial advice from Harry. Steve's fashion tips. What's Steve wearing this season?
Yeah.
That's going to be coming up in future weeks when we have nothing else to talk about. Well, thank you very much indeed. We've delved into the pigeonhole. It's all gone very well. A little round of applause in the Steve Wright style. I've offended the producer. No, I know I haven't really. We'll leave it. We'll have some Cocteau Twins before the 4 o'clock little Bez Sting thing, and after this trail, just play it. You know what to do. From their most successful album, 1990's Heaven or Las Vegas, that's the Cocteau Twins and Cherry Coloured Funk. It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music, and we found out earlier that Rufus is getting married. We found out that the world is approaching financial collapse, thanks to banker Rufus. We've not heard much from Sammy. I'd like to find out what's been going on in her world the last 7 days.
Oh, I've had one of those weeks.
Really?
Yeah, I really have. The highlight of which on Friday ended in me dropping my iPod down the toilet. You just can't. I had 6 separate items in my hands. Any of the other 5 could have easily been rinsed off and used again. Hall passes, keys, mascara, sunglasses. No,
fruit sweets.
the iPod goes down there.
Sure.
I just,
iPod?
yeah.
What were you doing, juggling over the toilet again?
Right, my dad insists that we keep the presses for the telly in the toilet.
Keep the what?
What?
Do you know? Oh, I hate this.
The presses?
The presses.
The remote control, maybe?
The presser.
The clickers in my family,
Although-
the clickers.
Technically, you are the
father
presser, I
demands
suppose.
that you keep the remote controls in the
Right,
lavatory.
because if someone came to steal the television, I don't know.
Are you serious here? Are you making this
No,
up?
this is
no.
absolutely
This is
true,
not
right?
true.
It's ridiculous.
Someone came to steal the television, the video, the Sky dish. That they wouldn't have the presses and it wouldn't be as valuable. The remote control, sorry.
Please, speak English.
So, I mean, we've got locks everywhere. We've got locks on our living room door, so you have to put the presses in the toilet, lock the living room door, put the alarm on, lock the porch door, lock the front door, leave.
Every time you leave the house, if there's no one
Yeah.
else there, you've got to lock the presses in the lavatory.
But otherwise, the pressers are allowed to be within pointing distance of the units for which they
Oh
are.
goodness, yeah, as soon as you come home, the presses leave the toilet and then
right.
it leaves them again.
So every time you come home, you have to walk out in the garden to the toilet, get the presses, come all the way back in. And anything else needs to be locked in there? Valuables, jewellery, diamond rings?
No, that's
Just the
all that
presses.
gets locked in there's the presses.
So in your dad's mind, a thief would break in, he'd be grabbing the TV, you think, ding dong, this is fantastic, and wait a minute, there's no presser, forget it, I've broken in, I'm just going to wipe the fingerprints off, scarf it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
I mean, well, to be fair, we haven't been burgled since he started doing that, so I don't know if it's been an excellent deterrent that they look through the windows. Oh, no presses.
presses.
It's
Yeah,
pointless.
forget the dog. Don't go around there.
Nah.
Waste of time.
No bother. So I went in,
To get the presses.
well, actually to put them away because I was leaving in a hurry, and I leant over the toilet, splash, and I thought I didn't